Good afternoon. Thank you everyone for joining ShipHawk's webinar today, and happy Halloween to everyone. And a happy Halloween to you, Jack. How's it going?
Going well, going well. Happy Halloween, Mike.
Yes, sir. So let's just run through a quick introduction, if you will. So I'll start off. My name is Mike Panichi, Director of Account Management with ShipHawk. And joining me is my friendly little Roly Fingers, aka Monopoly Man mustache, thanks to the founders of Zoom. Jack?
Yeah, sure. Hey, everybody. Jack Starr, Manager of Solution Consulting. So my focus is on helping customers understand how our solution can help bring them value, help streamline processes, and at the end of the day, make their jobs and lives a lot easier in the operation. So looking forward to be talking with everybody today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we hope everyone has a safe and happy Halloween. Just a few housekeeping items we just want to walk through. So we will be emailing a link to the recording following our session. So that way, those of you who have coworkers or friends that couldn't attend will be able to pass this on. There's going to be a lot of good information in this webinar. I think that'll be very valuable from an information standpoint. Feel free to chat with us in the Q&A box if you have any questions that you're looking for answers for following this webinar. And then also to learn more about our software and inquire with us on our capabilities, please email learnmore@shiphawk.com for support, and we'll get back to you immediately. And then also, of course, we want to get your feedback on what you thought of our survey. Please, hopefully everyone doesn't land to me too hard on the handlebar mustache here, but it is Halloween, so we would love to get your thoughts on the post-event survey. So we're going to start off with a little fun poll here. I certainly have my strong opinions about it, so we're going to post a poll for everyone. What's your favorite Halloween movie? Jack, what's yours?
I'm a big Halloween Town person. I grew up in the 90s, and Halloween Town was always a classic. So yeah, Halloween Town. But from what we have selected here, definitely Hocus Pocus. Hocus Pocus is a classic.
Ah, Hocus Pocus. I like it. So for me, it's Scream by far. I would say Scream, and I've seen, Friday the 13th, Halloween. I was kind of a horror movie fan as a kid. And I'll tell you this, Scream was probably the first movie that I ever saw in the theater that gave me the willies. That actually was like groundbreaking. So I'm gonna go with Scream there. For those of you who are in your 40s, probably remember that one in your prime. We'll see. We're going to move on as we're doing our poll there. So it's just some FYI to everyone. Pull out your cell phones, please. Scan that barcode on the screen. We're giving away a free trip to Acumatica Summit 2024. And that's a valuable package. Airfare, hotel included. You'll see more of the details when you pull out your phones and scan the barcode. But yeah, exciting stuff. Thank you all again for attending. So good luck to whoever wins that, and congratulations well in advance. So real quick, let's go ahead and start off real quick. And by the way, before I talk about ShipHawk, just a little FYI, all the poll results came in on the movie, and Hocus Pocus took it, with 28% going Hocus Pocus, 25% going Halloween, 23% going Scream, and 23% going The Shining. So Hocus Pocus, I did not see that one coming. But hey, it's Tuesday. So let's talk about who ShipHawk is. So ShipHawk, we were founded in 2012. Our headquarters is located in the beautiful town of Santa Barbara, California. If you haven't been there, I suggest take a trip there sometime. It is beautiful. Who we are, we're a multi-carrier cloud-based platform. We streamline, automate, and enhance your picking, packing, and shipping process in a given ERP. And what we do is we provide a total package. That's how I look at it. We provide a total package. A lot of softwares out there can either do either WMS or TMS. We do all of it. We do a WMS and we are a TMS, and we're cloud-based. And we're constantly evolving with this industry. We're cloud services, and we cater to those companies who receive their orders via e-commerce, EDI, Amazon, phone, fax, email. So pretty much everyone. Basically, if you ship, we can support it. So we have a lot of different tools. Everyone uses us in different fashions, and we try to tailor it specifically to your processes. It's something we're very proud of. And again, thank you all for submitting your questions. Just to kind of go over with everyone, just high level, some of the topics that your questions cover. They range from seasonal demand and staffing to multi-carrier rating. I saw a question on there about reporting and auditing, e-commerce configuration. Naturally, we live in an e-commerce world, right? Order picking and packing accuracy, eliminating manual processes, business growth and scaling, and then finally EDI compliance. And EDI compliance is a big one. And that's a big one from a profitability standpoint for companies. So, Jack, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start by reading off several of these little frightening stories. We're going to give a little Halloween narration here, go through several stories, and then we're going to talk about ShipHawk, how it pertains to those. And just so for everyone listening out there, what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to walk through. I want everyone to have a 10,000-foot view of ShipHawk and where we come into your given warehouse workflow. So that way you guys have a clear understanding of who we are and what we do. So I'm curious to see some of these stories. Starting off here, we have someone that said, my onboarding seasonal staff is a major hurdle we face every year to keep up with Black Friday demand. We don't have a streamlined way to generate carton labels and had to hire more staff. How do you put a process in place for this and onboard seasonal staff? Yeah, that's a fantastic question. And it is a hurdle, and it's something that I definitely hear as we get toward the holidays. The first thought that comes to mind is ShipHawk has the ability to generate carton labels, and not just any carton labels, but retail compliant carton labels. For example, it's a common practice that when a warehouse person is in the act of scanning items into boxes and then scanning those boxes onto pallets, they want those carton labels, those retail compliance carton labels for maybe Walmart, JCPenney, Target, all the big names out there. They want those to spit out automatically as they're scanning. So that way they can slap them on the box, put the box on the pallet, and just keep building that pallet out. Because the last thing you want is those to print at the very end, and then you have to go digging around for that box on the pallet to slap that label on. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. So we streamline that process to you. Jack, you're the WMS expert of the group. I'm just your lonely TMS guy. Tell us about that from a WMS standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the WMS side, we have integrated label printing. So we get customers coming to us to talk about, hey, I need labels during the receiving process, during the beginning of the picking process, or even like Mike said, all the way towards the end of the packing and shipping step. So really easy and flexible tools by our WMS can really help a lot of our customers get labels, the right labels at the right time, which is important. And when I think about how do we put a process into onboard seasonal staff, right? It's number one is having a process. I see so many operations who are trying to onboard team members, and their first thought is, well, let's just give them a handheld or give them a pick ticket and follow somebody. But if you don't have an actual process for that of, hey, this is where we want you to start and learn the basics, then you can never truly ramp and onboard that seasonal staff member with efficiency.
Absolutely. So, for you folks out there listening in, we recognize that everyone's warehouse process is entirely unique. So we have the ability to generate these upstream or downstream based on your processes. Very flexible. Let's take a look at another story here. Fright number 2. So this person said, we're trying to scale and bring on more carriers, but we recently lost out on a large order because we couldn't get them integrated within the limited time frame they allowed us. How can we scale our business but not interrupt fulfillment for carrier integrations? This is interesting. So bringing on more carriers. So first of all, I'm going to start off by saying, so I've worked at other software companies within this logistics industry, and connecting to a carrier API is not a little thing. It takes a lot of testing. Every single carrier API is built entirely uniquely. It takes time. The one thing about ShipHawk that I've seen here, there was an instance recently where a customer came aboard and needed Amazon shipping. Some of you out there might have been contacted recently by an Amazon. Right now, there is a service called Amazon Shipping going on, where right now it's for parcel shipments. And I mean, the cost goes as low as, I think, if memory serves, about $3 a package, roughly. I mean, dirt cheap. And customers want to take advantage of these prices during the holidays. Very profitable from an operational standpoint. This customer of ours wanted to take advantage of that, but Amazon only gave them a limited amount of time to do that because, hey, Amazon's the big guy in the room. So Amazon said, you have to start shipping in the next few weeks or we're moving on. We did that. ShipHawk stepped up. Our implementation team stepped up with our carrier development team. We tested it. We got Amazon shipping working in a matter of weeks, like a couple of weeks. It was probably the most impressive thing I've ever seen. And that customer is now using Amazon shipping as we speak. And what's also so impressive about it is there's only a handful of softwares out there that can even support it, let alone integrate into an ERP. So I'm proud to say ShipHawk is one of those. So from a carrier development standpoint, very impressive what I saw recently that we do. Jack, any thoughts there?
Yeah, definitely want to echo that. Is having a solution in place that really are experts in this space is so important, right? It's using our WMS, we have the advantages of leveraging our shipping solution as well to give you all of the benefits. Once again, one of the reasons that ShipHawk is unique in that we are a all-in-one package. We have warehouse, we have the fulfillment and shipping side, and they work seamlessly together. So you're not having to go out and find a third party or fourth party to integrate those. It's, hey, when you sign on with ShipHawk, we're going to help your business scale from day one until the end of time as you grow with your carriers and grow with your marketplaces.
Absolutely. Especially, I go back to Amazon because when I first came in this industry, there was only 1 or 2 services that they offered, and they just keep evolving and adding more and more services. And the name of the game in this industry, ladies and gentlemen, is to evolve and develop with this logistics industry. It is changing, whether it's from a picking perspective, a packing perspective, a carrier perspective. Softwares have to evolve with that. And either you adapt or you die. And that's what we do. We adapt to that. And we're proud to do it. Let's go on to another frightening story. So this individual said, my accounting spends way too much time collecting, normalizing, and reconciling carrier invoices versus shipments. It is a manual process using spreadsheets. My process to find billing mistakes and get reimbursed is too slow. We are losing money on shipping. I just don't know where. Yeah. These comments right here, I imagine someone who is in the capacity of working hand in hand with a warehouse manager who has different responsibilities, but one of the person's responsibilities is auditing invoices. But going through, for anyone who's actually ever done it, anyone who's taken a carrier invoice, whether that's parcel or LTL, and then tries to match it up with what they were originally quoted, and then figure out the reason for why there's a difference in cost, it is an absolute nightmare. And there's always going to be missed costs. There's always going to be human mistakes. And then you have to go through the whole process of collecting those monies back. So it's a process that is a productivity killer. But at the same time, you're losing tons of money operationally in the background. For those of you out there who are in charge of a warehouse, if you have not analyzed your carrier invoices, I highly suggest you do so, especially if you're shipping LTL. LTL carriers are notorious for overbillings. The reason what I like about this story is this correlates directly to ShipHawk for a product that we are about to release called ShipHawk Auditing. So important because it is going to handle both parcel and LTL. And it is going to give you a global view where you go into your ShipHawk portal and you see all your invoices that the carrier imported automatically to ShipHawk. And then we're going to show what was quoted in ShipHawk versus what you were actually invoiced. And if there is a delta, we will display that. Click on the invoice and it will tell you the exact reason. That is absolute productivity gold from a product standpoint. And on top of that, if you don't want to have an individual use that tool, and you would not only just want to have access to the data, but also have someone collect upon that, ShipHawk can collect those monies back from those carriers as well. So it really is, it's like a freight audit combined with a freight bill management solution in one. It's super. This is probably the most excited I've been about a product release in some time. Jack, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I definitely agree. This is a really painful part of a lot of our customers' businesses. And, really on the WMS side, right, we're going to be utilizing that exact same features of the shipping. But I think a piece to call here is just having that visibility, right? Whether it be real time at the time of shipping, I know what I'm paying versus what I'm actually being invoiced for, maybe at the end of the week or end of the month. So absolutely agree that a freight audit tool, kind of like Mike is talking about, that we're going to be announcing and releasing here in the very near future, is going to be a really powerful tool for our customers trying to manage their freight.
One other perspective I'll offer on this as well, that my mustache here just reminded me, is that it lets you look at your operations, right? This tool, for someone who is going through invoices and trying to mesh up costs on what they were invoiced versus what they were quoted, it takes so much time. It doesn't even give them time to look at things that they're doing operationally. So for example, as using this tool, they could sit there and say, oh, look, my UPS quote in ShipHawk didn't match up with my invoice. Click the reason as to what the reasoning was, and it will say the packaging was off. The carrier didn't agree with the way it was packaged, or maybe the dimensions were entered incorrectly. So maybe someone on the docks is entering the dimensions incorrectly or packing it incorrectly. Maybe you should take advantage of our scale or dimensioner integration, et cetera. So it not only saves you costs and lets you have an efficient way of getting all those costs collected back from the carrier, but it lets you look at your own operations. And that is so powerful for a shipping industry. It's ship smarter, not harder, is the name of the game. So let's go on. Let's take another look at a frightening story here on Halloween. This individual said that during the summer, we realized that our business was growing so fast that our inside sales and customer service teams were starting to fall behind due to the amount of time it was taking them to quote freight at order entry. We got caught behind the 8 ball rolling into our busiest time of year. How do we avoid this? Yeah, that sounds spooky. I think that's safe to say. That's pretty spooky. So offhand, right off the top of my head, ShipHawk integrates to the sales order screen in an ERP. So you can integrate our quoting capability, and that allows someone in customer service or inside sales to provide a quote over the phone or via email to their customer. I remember just going back in my career once upon a time when I worked inside sales, I was constantly getting asked by my resellers, Mike, how much is that freight going to be? What would I have to do? I'd have to pick up the phone and annoy my warehouse person and say, hey, Matt, can you get me a freight quote real quick? At which he only picked up the phone half the time, or I'd have to shoot an email and wait till he got back to me at the end of the day. Completely inefficient, right? This is what that quoting capability is for at sales order and customer service level. So something that's very powerful I'd like to point out about it is that we can make it look like it's part of the ERP, whether you use our RESTful API and develop it yourself into your ERP, or whether you use one of our integrations into the ERP. We have the ability to make it look like it's actually within your ERP, so that way you're not getting like a pop-up box. Very productive and efficient. Jack, I feel like is there anything I'm missing on that? Maybe from a smart packing perspective, perhaps?
Yeah, no, I think that there's definitely a lot of value in our solution here, where you can take advantage of our cartonization algorithm, or as we call it, smart packing, to give you a closer and more educated quote, as you said, on the sales order inside of the ERP. So not only are we just saying this could be the rate, we're saying this could be the rate based off of the optimal way of packaging this item, which every customer is trying to do, right? You're obviously not trying to send out a pair of shoes in a microwave or refrigerator box. You're trying to find a box closest, or set of box or pallets as close to the dimensional size of your product. And so this is a great way that by setting up some automation on the shipping solution side, we can give you that upstream in your ERP, which is, there's a lot of value and benefit to that for our customers.
Absolutely. Can't walk into a UPS store and slap your little bobblehead on the counter and say, ship that. You have to put it in a box to get a price. And that's some of the magic of our software is we can predictively pack with our smart packing tool for you. So yes, very valuable feedback and functionality there. So a frightening story, number 5. We were batch processing through on-premise software with the major carriers, but the data wasn't updating back into our ERP. We realized that we didn't have the staffing to handle this during the holidays, which represents 60% of our shipping throughout the year. And other softwares can batch, but they can't spit out the labels in a systematic order. So right out of the gate, for my mindset, Jack, what I'm thinking is our batch processing module. And I can tell you, it's not a little thing. This is a very, very valuable feature because, see, for those of you out there who use on-premise softwares for batch processing, what you probably will notice is that most of them are not writing all that shipment data back into your ERP to the corresponding fulfillments. A lot of it has to be manual entry. And that is a productivity killer, opens the door for human error, opens the door for a lot of bad things to happen. Maybe you don't trigger your invoicing to happen on a large scale from your ERP. So with our batch processing module in ShipHawk, you can spit out 100, 200, 300, pick your number, amount of labels that are tied to individual fulfillments or orders, if you will. And what's powerful is those will print off systematically from our system and process systematically. That's very valuable, especially if you have like a warehouse per se, where you have a packer and shipper that wants to line up their boxes based on order in a row down the warehouse and just print off a batch of labels and walk right down the line, slapping those labels on all the boxes in a systematic order. A lot of softwares out there in this industry, they can batch process, but they can't print them out systematically. They just all go right to the print connector and just spit out in random order. And that just doesn't work when you're in a batch processing environment. And by the way, we're updating all those individual fulfillments and orders with all that shipment data and triggering your ERP to generate an invoice to your customer, a true streamlined workflow. Is there anything, Jack, that you think is worth mentioning there, or from a WMS perspective?
Yeah, definitely. I really think that, part of this really begins upstream, really at the picking step. So batch processing is obviously getting all of my product and shipping it out in a timely fashion, but it's all about picking it efficiently. And that is where our WMS really shines. One of our 7 different profiles of picking an order, one of them is called batch. And that is where we identify single line, single quantity orders, or a groups of exact same orders. Some customers may think of that as like a subscription model, right? Maybe on the 15th of every month, you need to send out 20,000 of the same exact subscription box, right? You would want to batch process all 20,000 of those boxes and labels. And that is something that our WMS automatically will set your operation up for. And then that way it's an easy fulfillment process. And then like Mike said, we're going to write that all back into your ERP, onto the shipment or order or fulfillment record. So that way it is a seamless part of your day-to-day operation. It is not, I have to worry about these 20,000. It's, hey, these are going to be a bigger order, but our system is going to give us a standard, seamless, smooth process to handle all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And, something to take away from this, ladies and gentlemen, is that we look at things, as I mentioned earlier, we are a total package from a solution standpoint. We have our WMS, we have our TMS, and we realize that everything doesn't just exist at the TMS level. Things exist upstream, just like Jack was mentioning, at the WMS level. So a lot of our capability that's in our TMS is also in our WMS. Our WMS is just as robust and works independently, by the way, of NetSuite, while it still integrates to that or any other ERP for that matter. Very powerful. Let's talk, let's go through one last story here, and then we can see if there's any other questions out there that we can discuss. This one was, our business was growing at a 50% rate year over year. And we realized that coming into the holidays, it was taking too many scans with our shipping software to keep up with productivity. Then comes Black Friday, and it was one giant traffic jam. Well, whoever had submitted that out there, first, I'd like to congratulate you on your business growing at a 50% clip. That is awesome. However, what's not awesome is Black Friday and having a traffic jam from a scanning standpoint. I know exactly where they're coming from. This is a productivity play, because the name of the game, especially from a WMS and shipping standpoint, is the less clicks, or the less scans rather, the better. Least amount of scans as possible. Now, I can tell you from a TMS perspective, ShipHawk is designed to where a packer and a shipper never has to touch a keyboard, and they have the ability to just do one scan to ship the order. I tell everyone this: the software is as good as the data that you pass to it. So if you're passing us the data, we can have this thing go in one scan, depending on what the nature of the workflow is, maybe 2 scans. So it's very fast, very efficient. And I also know from a scanning standpoint at WMS, it's extraordinarily powerful. Jack, I'd love to hear your feedback on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Very similar to what we were talking about on the batch processing side. Our WMS is focused and built with best-in-class efficiencies. So, our team has decades worth of warehousing experience, and we've built a solution that is meant for reducing the amount of labor, reducing the amount of scans, reducing the amount of foot travel. So that way we can avoid these giant traffic jams. We think about your operation holistically, as in what are the steps needed to make you the most efficient and the most successful. And when that comes to Black Friday, that's absolutely one of the most important things we think about. So absolutely, part of our solution is helping customers avoid these giant traffic jams.
Yeah, absolutely. The scanning, again, I go back to the sense that we realize that everyone's warehouse workflow is entirely unique. It's entirely unique. So whether you have one person that needs to run around the warehouse, pick, pack, ship, we can support that in a fast manner with our scanning capability. Whether you have one person who's handling the picking and then you have another person who's handling the packing and the shipping. We can support that from both ends in a scanning capacity. So a lot of different ways that we can tailor from a WMS and TMS perspective. So there was a question that came in. Before I talk about our order workflow, there was a question that came in that actually caught my attention. I wanted to bring up, and Jack, this one I'm gonna defer to you on. Someone had asked or mentioned that they had issues with their slotting optimization and in their warehouse. And correct me if I'm mistaken, but slotting optimization is, if memory serves, the ability to assign SKUs within like a distribution center, basically to the most productive location. And I know we have like zoning things of that nature inside our WMS. I just wanted to get your thoughts on what we could do from that perspective.
Yeah, that's a great question. So our WMS can absolutely assist with all of the data and reporting around how your items are moving through the fulfillment center and how they're selling, essentially. And then we can provide you with all reporting and all those analytics to help you make those data-driven decisions. A big thing here that a lot of customers always ask about, or people ask, is, hey, can ShipHawk actually do the slotting for me? And while that may sound like a great thing for your business, I'd actually say that it's not. That is one of the areas where we want human beings to be involved and engaged, because human beings understand the size of your products, whether it's seasonal, whether it's not a long-term stocked product. So once again, we want to be able to provide you all the data, all the analytics on, these are your fastest moving products within the last 3 months, the last 12 months, the last 24 months, and then I'll help your operations team or your IT team make those data-driven decisions and configurations within our WMS or within your ERP, depending on where you're more comfortable with.
Awesome. Hope that answers your question out there. Thank you for that, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look at, I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar that we would take a look at the given ShipHawk workflow from a 10,000 foot level, right? And I admit I'm no Picasso when I put this together, but I do my best. So the nature of this game is all about how the orders come in, right? It's whether the orders come in via EDI. It's about whether they come in via e-commerce. It's about whether they come in via Amazon, or they just come in email, phone, fax, maybe to an inside sales or customer service center. So then the question becomes, where does ShipHawk add value? And this is why I love this is workflow stuff. This is a total solution package. So let's start from the top here. So if an order comes in via EDI, which is chances are it's coming in SPS Commerce or True Commerce or maybe even DSI, it's going to automatically flow into a sales order. And if it's coming in via EDI, it's probably going to be like a Target or a JCPenney's or a Walmart, for example. And it's going to be shipping on their own account. And it's going to go down into the warehouse where the fulfillment begins. In other words, the picking starts. And that's where, especially when you're dealing with EDI-based orders, it's going to be big orders. And that's where we can provide our mobile picking, stock counting, work order completion, receiving transfers, bin transfers. It can do it all. And notice is we also have the ability to generate those carton labels, those retail compliant carton labels, because guess what, folks? If you get one of those carton labels wrong with those big box retailers, we all know how much the fee is. It is expensive. The numbers are staggering. So if you use our WMS, we'll streamline that for you and give you the most efficient way to pick those items. And then when you get down to the fulfillment area where you have an individual up here who's packing and shipping on the workbench, ShipHawk, just as a thought here, ShipHawk's unlimited users. That's huge because a lot of ERPs out there, they charge based on user. So you could have 100 people in a warehouse using ShipHawk, and it won't cost you an extra dime. So using our workbench, you could have all your orders just populate automatically on our workbench, and then one by one, your shipper can just open up the order, quickly scan, pack, ship. You're done. ERP updated, the BOL, the ship labels, if you need to print retail compliant labels for the cartons at time of shipping, the license plates, the pallet labels, international parcel documents, all those things spit out automatically. And at the same time, we're going to update the ERP. We're going to write that data right back to that fulfillment screen. So from an EDI perspective, that's extraordinarily powerful. And by the way, we also will push, like, for example, if your EDI order came in via SPS Commerce, we're going to push that data back to SPS Commerce's integration, depending on what ERP you're using. And SPS is going to take that data and generate an automatic advanced shipment notification, an ASN, as many of you might know it as. So things like that, very powerful. E-commerce, right? That's the market we play, the other big market we play in. We have integrations to BigCommerce, Magento, SuiteCommerce Advanced for NetSuite. And by the way, Shopify. And by integration, I mean, we have the ability to provide quoting capability, which is huge, because the web development, if you take a REST API and develop it yourselves, that takes costs, that takes time, takes a ton of testing, that takes effort. With ours, you can plug it in. It's a plugin. It's an integration that's already built, and you can see those rates. You can see the carrier. You can see the ship method. You can see the transit time. You can see the cost. And all of that data will allow your customers to choose that. And then it will flow downstream into an order, and then down the line, just like I mentioned before. Also, if you have a need for ShipHawk quoting, as I mentioned earlier, we can provide that quoting capability to your inside sales and customer services team at a sales order level. If you need the ability to quote at a sales order level. Amazon, again, if it's an Amazon-based order, we can generate those Amazon compliance labels. We can, as I mentioned, we integrate now to Amazon shipping. The speed in which our team designed the ability to facilitate Amazon shipping, almost like they're a carrier, it was extremely impressive. You can take advantage of those dirt cheap rates and have us spit out the appropriate shipping labels to facilitate your Amazon shipping, or Amazon buy shipping, or Amazon seller fulfilled prime, FBA, etc. So we have that Amazon capability. And then, of course, email, phone, fax. If you have customer service or inside sales, it gets those orders. Again, this is where the ShipHawk quoting is going to be very valuable for them. And then downstream, again, you have that option to use our WMS, or you could use our TMS. So powerful stuff from a workflow standpoint. I want to give everyone a 10,000-foot level on how, again, the name of the game is how your orders come in dictates what your functionality needs are downstream. ShipHawk tailors to that. ShipHawk, we create a tailored solution with our TMS and WMS just for you. Jack, real quick, on that note, I've talked a lot about TMS today. What do you say we cap things off talking about our WMS for a second? Tell everyone what they would want to know about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Our WMS is a tier 1 full feature solution. So everything that happens inside of the 4 walls, from receiving, picking, packing, and obviously working with our shipping solution on the shipping piece, but features that our customers love, right? A really robust cycle counting module. That way we can control how your items and locations are counted throughout the year, whether you want to count everything in your facility during a weekend, whether you want to count certain number of items or locations per week or per month. A lot of customers are loving that. And then also the integrations, right? The ability to pull orders in, handle them within our solution in an automated and best-in-class efficiency way, and then send all that information back up to the ERP. There are 2 topics that we saw really high, or a lot of questions about inside of our Q&A, which was around address validation and reporting and analytics, and definitely want to touch on those. So ShipHawk will address validate orders. That is a very utilized feature in our solution, where we're going at the time of order import, we're going to make a request to a address validation service to check, is it commercial? Is it residential? See if there's any available surcharges that we need to know about. And then, of course, if it does not pass that address validation, then provide a notification to your team that there is something wrong with it. And then for reporting and analytics, all of our data is available via API. So whether you want to pull out certain data into a Power BI or a Tableau or a Snowflake and make that data lake, it's all available across our entire ecosystem. So whether you want to pull receiving or picking data or carrier costs and shipping data, we have all of that available to our customers each and every day. So yeah, that is sort of a high-level overview about our WMS, what makes it so powerful, so great, and then about address validation and reporting and analytics.
It's, in my opinion, forgive me for saying, but I think I think our WMS is one of the best kept secrets on the market. It blows me away every time. Wait, what is it? 1 second or less is the speed of it, Jack? Is that what we timed it at?
Yep, always aiming for those sub-second response times within the handheld.
That's crazy. And if the ERP goes down, from my understanding, it keeps operating business as usual. Your processes don't crash, correct?
Absolutely. Because we live in the ShipHawk cloud, we control our own performance. So if your ERP or any connectors go down, right, we will not have any issues in the WMS handling what we've got.
Love it. Love it. Love it. So folks, real quick on the screen, to learn more, to reach out to Jack or myself or anyone else for that matter, to inquire on getting more information about our software, please visit learn more at shiphawk.com. Just shoot us an email, and then we'll get back to you in a very, very timely fashion. So on that note, I do want to wish everyone a very happy Halloween, a very safe, happy Halloween. Thank you very much for attending. You are going to receive, for those who submitted questions, you are going to receive your $20 Starbucks gift cards. And we thank you again for submitting your information. And hocus pocus, I did not see that one coming. Yes. Have a great Halloween, everyone. Thank you.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Thanks for joining.